Hey guys, so in this interview with Justin Devonshire, I'll be discussing how he's been able to build multiple different businesses in multiple different niches, whilst phasing himself out of those businesses. See, Justin started off like many of us with a highly paid job-based entrepreneur. He then realised that, hey, this isn't sustainable, I need to phase myself out. Going on from there, he's now taught other businesses his systems, showed them how to use speaking to gain highly lucrative clients, and has a lifestyle business, a true lifestyle business where he only works when he wants to work. One of those rare guys, he gives a lot of information away because, quite frankly, his businesses that function without him provide the majority of his income. Anyways, guys, I'm really looking forward to this. I'm sure you'll enjoy it just as much as I enjoyed shooting it. I'll speak to you all soon. So, jump straight into it. I'll do the recording pre-intro a bit later. But how are you, my man?
I'm doing great.
Awesome.
Glad to be here doing this.
Yeah, man, I'm looking forward to this. I've heard so much about you. Yeah, so tell us a little bit more about yourself, man. I know you do a lot of speaking. You've had a crap load of different businesses. What I don't know is your full backstory. So how did you get started? What are you doing now? Who is Justin Devonshire?
The full backstory to whittle it down would be I started as a personal trainer and mindset coach years ago when I lived in the UK, and my goal, well, until I was about 20 years old, I had no idea what I really wanted to do. I was always entrepreneurial naturally, so no job or career really interested me whatsoever. So I eventually became a personal trainer and kind of help people with mindset, because psychology and fitness were things I always just enjoyed anyway. So my goal at the time then was to be my big life ambition at that time was basically to be a manager of a local gym. Take the $30,000 a year salary and be the manager of a gym. That was as big as you think it can get, really. And then when I was in the gym working, I started learning about other top guys in marketing, online marketing, and really found out about the online marketing world. Found out about guys like Dan Kennedy, and Dan Kennedy is one of the biggest influences on me, because he was the first one to bring the two sides together, and I heard what he calls brick and click marketing. So, being in a local business and using the online methods, to target everyone and drive them locally for higher priced local services. And that's something that is the philosophy that's always stuck with me throughout. All my businesses all have a very similar live component. And I'm a big believer in, online cheap traffic tools for high return, higher end services. So I found my way eventually into after I'd grown my first fitness studio, sold it to a partner, invested in building another one, completely outsourced the second time round, and also then helping other coaches, personal trainers, consultants, expert service professionals, how to attract more clients and also leverage their time, and then build scalable, how to brand themselves, how to leverage their time, and then how to scale up beyond that and take on people and create a lifestyle. So that's really where it all happened that way.
Brilliant. How do you go from wanting to go with a 30K a year job to actually found out? How do you find out about that? Do you actively go seeking for mentors? Were you introduced by someone? How do you make that transition?
Well, this is this is a funny thing, because it's one of those a lot of people have these kind of big kind of big emotional stories, and and everything was at rock bottom and this kind of thing. And basically, I was when I started working for myself eventually, I needed clients and I couldn't get any. I kind of just went onto Google and typed in, how do I get fitness clients? An amazing website called google.com, and that one search.
Hold on, let me just make a note of that one.
Yeah, write that one down. I think if you're in the UK, there's the co.uk version as well, which is very similar. And you know, and for me, that was just it. You know, if you're stuck with something, just go and look for the answer and use Google. And then I came across, I think, the first website would have been maybe Bedros Keuilian's website, or maybe Chris McCombs, one of those guys. You know, and then through there, they introduce you to more people and stuff like that. So this was like a whole brand new world to me, you know. And so I started piecing it all together basically, and then saved up more money, and then went on to mastermind programs. You know, and since then, a lot of those guys, you know, some of those, you know, the biggest guys in the fitness marketing industry, I've ended up, you know, partnering with, being friends with, or even now helping them in their businesses.
Brilliant.
So it's kind of amazing when you see how things can change like that.
So at that point, I'm assuming you're still a personal trainer, and this is all building your own personal training business. Is that correct?
No, I retired from personal training a couple of years ago.
When you got interested in online world, is that where you're still in personal training? What you're using
I was very much a technician back then.
Okay.
Solopreneur. And you know, and I did all the marketing and sales stuff right. And then I had so many clients that I hit my next problem. I branded myself so well, had online marketing incoming streams. And then my next problem was I was fully booked on clients, bringing a great low six-figure income, and I hated my life because I worked 10 hours a day every day, and realized that success I thought what it wasn't really what I'd signed up for.
Okay.
And that's really what brought me then to outsourcing, scaling, systemizing, and then teaching a new level of business growth after that.
Okay, so that really is one of your core specialities from what I understand. So, knowing nothing, completely booked, systems and tools. So, how do you start learning about systems and tools, and what was the, next step of the journey there for you?
Well, when it came to systemization, because I built up my studio at this point, I'd moved out of the UK. I came to Cyprus, where I live now, over in Europe, and I built a bootcamp business. I'm doing some public speaking as well. And again, I built it up really well. It was all going great. And I realized then I had a very well-paid job, but not a business. At that point, actually, my mother, actually, who's still in the UK, had a brain tumor at the time she found out. So I had to literally drop everything, you know, fly back to the UK. I was there for about 12 months. My father had to go back to work after a while, so I was there. I had to, you know, I had a brain operation and everything, and she recovered. You know, fortunately, she's back to health. But in that time, it was a big wake-up call for me that we think we're gonna get somebody else, or we're gonna outsource this, or get some help, you know, one day when we need to, or we said when I'm fully booked, you know, then I'll get somebody, and it just doesn't work like that. So I used that time in the UK where I was itching to get back to doing something, but I had to be stuck there. So I basically, I thought to myself that this time when I go back into business next time, it's going to be completely different. It's not going to be a job that depends on me. It's going to be a fitness business that I'm the owner of, not a personal trainer with a fitness business. And that's I went back then, you know, with all the systems in place, you know, generated all the clients back again, and took on a partner this time who would work.
So you just write down what you need to do at that stage when you're still in the UK?
Yeah, I documented everything. You know, I read The E-Myth by Michael Gerber, which is probably the only book you need on that subject, about everything being a template, a checklist, a script, or a video tutorial. So I wrote down, you know, all the tasks I had to do every day that depended on me. I then figured out which tasks am I the best at, and I enjoy doing. I'll keep doing those. But if I could get rid of the other, you know, 80% of things that are taking up my time that I'm not the best at and that I don't enjoy, then I realized the company could grow faster. So this time I had kind of become a bit complacent with training clients. You know, after a while, getting up at 6 a.m. in the morning to hear people complain about their diets kind of I wasn't as passionate about that anymore. So I decided to step away from that, and I brought in another guy who would work with all the clients, so I could work on the business, build our funnels, put our systems together, recruit new people, do outreach strategies, things like that. And I could be a brand ambassador for the company, whilst
Brilliant.
the other guy was the technician then. Yeah. So that's what happened. I had that time, and I documented everything: how we did phone calls, how we welcomed clients, how we wrote the workouts, how we answered the phone, what our blog post would look like, what a Facebook post would look like, and we just scripted everything.
What happens at that point? 'Cause I know business owners, they either start going, holy crap, I can do this again and again, or they have a point where, what's next? They get stuck, they kind of plateau for a while. What is the process for you then?
Well, I use a simple system, called do, document, and delegate. 3D system. So you do something. As soon as you do it, you simply want to document what you're doing. So if you just wanted to just outsource these interviews, let's say, then you probably have some templates or scripts. We have systems, but they're all unconscious.
Mental process.
A system, just a way of doing things. It hasn't got to be all computerized or nothing to do with coding or anything like that. People mistake it for. So you probably have like a load of questions, right? You probably ask people the information you want to find out. You have a certain way of recording it. You have a certain way of then uploading it. You have a certain way of distributing the content. And you likely repeat that process 90% the same way all of the time. So if you just kind of documented or recorded or narrated yourself doing it, then that's the only point then that you could step out if you chose to. And like I said, it's always I believe it's good for every entrepreneur to get to that point as soon as possible, because you never know, there might be a time tomorrow where you have to step out. Like if you have an illness in the family, or if you have some kind of emergency or whatever might happen, you want to be protected to know that if you, for whatever reason, could not work tomorrow, that your income could be at least maintained within 20%. And the big roadblock solopreneurs have is they say, I get that, but the problem is I can't find anyone who's as good as me. Right? And the first thing I realized to overcome that is to just agree and say, yes, you won't. But as soon as you can accept that, they're not going to be as good as you. But if you can train them to be, you can find people with potential and to follow your systems, and then with good ongoing team training, get them to be 70% as good as you. You now get 100% more free time.
Brilliant.
And in that 100% more free time, you're going to make a lot more money, make a lot more impact, help a lot more people, and really create a freedom-based lifestyle business, which is really what most of us get into business for in the first place. And we've lost sight of that actual goal.
Brilliant. Love that. Cool. So at this point, you obviously understand you've done your fitness business, you've got it systemized. What happened after that? You there?
Sorry, what was the question?
You've got a fitness business, it's pumping along nicely. You've got all this free time where you don't have to be actively involved in the business, and you are, obviously you've got this time you put into growing it and being an ambassador, but what do you do with all this free time after that?
Well, that's actually a great question, because one of the things I teach on my freedom business retreats when I do this is what happens is, I kind of see it as though we have structural growth, and then we have like mental, emotional growth, the growth on the outside and the inside. And what happens is a lot of the time, you can achieve structural growth sometimes, but your emotions, your mentality doesn't evolve to go with it, and that can cause us to that can crush our business sometimes. We can grow too fast, or we just lose it because we're not prepared for it, and we drop back down to where we were. Our structural growth go back down to where we were emotionally able to handle. So when it comes to creating a freedom business and outsourcing yourself, if you get to the point of structural freedom where everything is done for you, it could be a very small business operation. If you have you take on one coach and one admin person to handle all your clients, and it's a nice little business that makes 6,000-7,000 a month. Then the next point is, you're left with nothing to do. And what's happened is, you've got structurally, you've made freedom, but you haven't got it in your mind yet, because we'll still hold on to those old beliefs and patterns that say we should be doing something. If you're not working, you feel guilty. We feel guilty taking time away. We feel like if we're not doing something, we're not being productive. And these are basically employee mindsets that we never shook off.
The mindset you have there, being a high performer, you think you need to be doing something. What's gotten you to that point can't get you to the next point.
Exactly, yeah. So we realize a solopreneur is about doing. Solopreneurs work hard and do time for money and this kind of thing. Entrepreneurs I believe they have a different type of hard work. And this is where we see when you look at the industry, we'll see no one really understands this. It's that the hard work of a solopreneur or an employee, because solopreneur is self-employed, so you're still an employee basically.
Yeah.
Employees live on time for money, and they get their ego and pride from how many hours I worked, how long I worked. It's always the quantity of the work, never the quality of the work. Yet we say otherwise, but it's absolutely true. They think they deserve more because the coach spent 12 hours on Skype, or the personal trainer was on his feet all day with his clipboard, or whatever. But if we look at the reality of the world, those who work the hardest always earn the least money for physical labor. Literally from the most extremes in the world, those who are putting more blood, sweat, and tears into it always earn the least money. Always. And yet those at the other end of extreme wealth do the least physical hard labor. This is undeniable. Yeah. Everyone wants to kind of buy into the hustle mentality, but the facts show it. The harder you work, statistically, the less money you're going to make. And what that means is, people then say, well, so being an entrepreneur is easy. And it's not quite that simple. But what the hard work of an entrepreneur is, someone who surrounds himself with solopreneurs who do the work for him or her, the hard work for an entrepreneur, I found, is the mental, emotional hard work. So Richard Branson, for example, he sits and works from like Necker Island all day in the sun, right? But think of the hard work he has it's the hard work of waking up with 40,000 employees, feeding their families dependent on your brand name. There's the responsibility of organizing people and enrolling them on your vision. There's the work of holding a giant vision and believing in it when everyone around you tells you it can't be done. That's the kind of, it's leading people. It's emotional responsibility. It's having to keep calm when something goes drastically wrong in the business. If one of his trains crashes or anything like that happens, or there's a lawsuit, he has to stay calm for everyone in the entire company. That's the hard work of entrepreneur. It's mental, emotional hard work, which is 10 times the real drain on a person than physical hard work ever will be. Physical hard work really is staying inside your comfort zone. Because we know how to, the personal trainer knows how to just stay in the gym all day, and the chef knows how to work in the kitchen all day. It's physically hard, but it's
same stuff.
Yeah. So it's still, they can say, oh, it's physically hard and woe is me, I should earn more money. But no, you shouldn't, because it's your comfort zone. But the real hard work of saying, how can I remove myself and trust other people and train other people to lead them to be better and take my company further, that's the real hard work outside the comfort zone that most solopreneurs don't even want to think about. And that's why they always stay small and don't get to the level of success they could do.
Okay, brilliant. I guess from there you've already got the systems for yourself, and you started. Was it at this point you started coaching others or training others, or was this when you started doing the public speaking?
I've always done speaking. Speaking I did from a very early stage, because when I was trying to promote myself as a personal trainer, I didn't have a budget for advertising or anything like that. So I realized, getting out there and speaking was one of the fastest ways to cement myself as an authority. And later on, speaking to me has always been. I don't like to rely on any tactic or say there's one way to do something. But if there was a magic bullet in business and marketing, it's live speaking, and live speaking has been the way to connect with people from the beginning of time. It's why now I'm not a religious person, but it's why Jesus and the Buddha are still remembered today, because they went out there, did public speaking, and told stories. It's always been the best method of communication, which is what marketing is. So, and you look at every top leader of industry, public speaking is what gets presidents elected. It's what solves political debates. It's what Tony Robbins will do. It's what all the top gurus of any industry always do, public speaking. So I realized it was a fantastic way to get out there, and the cool thing about it is that no one else will do it in your industry. Very few competitors will actually do it, because you have to be the real deal. Whereas now anyone can make content online, anyone can get a Amazon bestseller ghostwritten in 3 days, but public speaking, you have to be the real deal. You can't fake it, and that's why so few actually do it. So when you do, a speaker is trusted 10 times more than an author, and an author is trusted more than a doctor these days. So it's the quickest way to get. Exactly. So you get massive trust, massive credibility, less competition, and you also leverage your time, and you can speak and close dozens of prospects in 1 hour, rather than a typical 1 hour per consultation type approach. So I found speaking, I systemized that down to a science and realized what are the top guys doing, and how do we quickly start selling high ticket services in high volume. Right, and that's the ultimate.
Was this for your online services, or was this more for face-to-face originally?
Usually face-to-face, mainly, because with speaking, it's designed to sell high ticket services. Mm-hmm. You have all that credibility. There's no use really selling anything less than at least a few $100 minimum. So there's no point doing a big event and selling an ebook at the end of it, right? So you may as well enroll. You've created that personal connection with someone. It's an easy go into working more personal. That's why, again, all the top speakers in the world, Tony Robbins, Rob Kiyosaki, you look at all those guys, this is exactly what they do. They'll have a live event which sells you to another bigger, more expensive live event, and that will sell people into a mastermind, for example.
Question of my audience would be saying to you, like, if they are personal trainers, if they are a local business owner, so say salon owners, they'll be wondering, Justin, how can I actually use this for my business as a personal trainer? I don't have online training right now. I've just got a salon. Is speaking applicable to me? Is it going to be good, or should I focus on other revenue sources?
Not only is it applicable, it's the best thing you'll ever do, because if you're in a local area, again, if you start speaking, you will be the number one choice virtually overnight. In one of my gyms, we promote it solely by running 2 seminars a week. We've run 2 seminars a week with an average of 50 to 100 leads a day coming in for them, and I've generated in the last 20 months an average of 1,400 qualified leads for my fitness business per month on average, by simply running live events. Because it's content marketing, right? And seminars are the most valuable lead magnet you can give away for free. So think about it. And if we look at consumption rate of content is extremely important too. So if personal trainer A, let's say, puts out their landing page with download my PDF report with 10 steps to lose weight, and personal trainer B puts out a landing page with come to my free 90-minute seminar where I teach you the 10 steps to lose weight, there's going to be a monumental difference, because if they both send let's say they both send 1,000 people to the page with their traffic, right? First of all, we see across the board, the free seminar is going to get a drastically higher opt-in rate. Why? It's a much, much higher lead value lead magnet. Secondly, but let's say that it was even. Let's say that 20% opted in for both of them. So 1,000 traffic to those pages, 200 opted in for the PDF, and 200 opted in for a seminar. Now, when people opt in for a PDF, typically less than 10% will actually download the PDF. So that means 200 opted in, but only 20 download the thing. And less than 2% actually read it to the end and see the actual offer at the end of it. So you've probably got then 5 people reading a PDF. And how well is a PDF going to sell a fitness program? Whereas a seminar, we see if 200 opt in for the seminar, we'll get about a 40% show-up rate for a free event if we have a good reminder sequence. So that means you'll get about, let's say 80 people come to your seminar. And now a seminar selling a program is very different to an ebook selling a program. When you're there live in person, you've put them all into 80 people in one room, and you sell a $200 intro service, like a 6-week program. You can close 20 sales out of 80 right there. And I've got a great kind of Facebook post from a client who took on my 6-figure speaker program, and she's a fitness pro. And she actually, I've got this on the Facebook somewhere, where she ran her first event using this. She put just 12 people in the room, and all 12 closed onto a program. So it's $9,000 in incoming revenue she has. And I've got this now. This is systemized to my coaches. So my 2 coaches they teach the seminars at the gym now, and they close probably 30 to 50% of the people onto a $200 6-week program, and they're doing that twice a week, week in, week out. And so to stand out locally, if you're a PT or a salon owner, anything like that, getting in front of groups of people is the fastest, easiest, most effective, usually cheapest, and the biggest ROI you'll get for any local marketing strategy, because you differentiate yourself immediately.
It's brilliant. That is actually really, really cool. So, I guess a couple of questions for you to round things off. Out of all the books you've read in your life, I know you've read quite a few, you've mentioned quite a few times, what have been the most influential in your life in terms of both business and personal development?
So business, I would say personal development first, because your business can only grow to the level you grow as a person. So ultimately, I would say the book that really changed my life the most was Conversations with God. The Conversations with God series, which is amazing.
Neil Donald Walsh, isn't it?
Neil Donald Walsh, yeah. So that is one that really takes the mindset level of things one step further. And then from there, business-wise, I tell people routinely, the only 2 business books you ever need are the E-Myth by Michael Gerber, which shows you about the importance of systems and defines systems and what they mean, and then the 4-Hour Workweek, which shows you how to outsource those systems and actually fill the void and do something with your life. And like I said, when you asked about what do you do to fill that gap when you create it, the 4-Hour Workweek helps you with that, because Tim Ferriss, the author, went through the exact same problem, and he says the best part in the book is he says, I finally outsourced everything after 20 years of working hard and checking 90 emails a day. I outsourced my business, put it online, flew to London for a vacation, and then proceeded to have a panic attack the next day because I didn't know what to do with myself. We want to avoid that, basically. So that book is instrumental for figuring out not only how to free up your life, but why you're doing it and what you are gonna do with it instead.
Did you go through the same process yourself, or were you ready for that when it came?
No, pretty much, because you get into the habit of you free up time, and then you just run back into starting a new idea before you've given the last idea really time to develop and grow, and you have to lead the people, basically. Then you be a people leader, and if you're looking back into solopreneur mode, looking for a new product to launch, you forget those people won't run themselves. So yeah, you've really got to, or someone spends all their time on Facebook all day, and we suddenly free it up for them with a done for you service. And the next thing, they're twiddling their thumbs and then going, "Shall I open a Snapchat account?" and start all over again. Yeah, that's really will replace those habits. So the 4-Hour Workweek is essential for that. They're the 2 business books that I really bought and learned and just applied. Everything I learned about systems, everything I've taught you today, I didn't learn from mentors. I didn't pay some high-end course. it's what's in those two books. The difference is I didn't nod and go, that's a good book, and then read the next thing. I actually studied those books, and I read the 4-Hour Work Week 8 times back to back and kept it with me for a year. And I used it as my training guide, and every one of my employees was given the book as a training exercise too. That's the difference. If you take, people can watch this interview and they can go, that's great for entertainment, and go to the next one and look for the next magic tactic. But if they just take what we've said here today, they can go and drastically remove themselves from their business in 30 days.
Brilliant.
But people just don't value information that's free or low cost these days. They think it can't be the full picture.
Consume.
So if you want to pay me $30,000, but if you want to pay me $30,000 to learn the same thing, you're welcome to do that as well. But it's the same stuff.
See,
so
that's what I've found refreshing with you. I've had other people say that as well, that you're very candid in the way you talk about what you're teaching. Like, I guess where does that methodology come from? Are you actually trying not to get clients, or are you just upfront telling people, "Hey, you don't need me, but if you want the hand holding, I'm here to do it for you"? Is that your approach to business now, or?
Well, yeah. I mean, a couple of things. The main difference is I have a different perspective on this coaching industry because I'm relatively new to it in a way that. I'm not new to coaching. I've been coaching personal training, martial arts things. I know how to create behavior change in people psychologically, but as the industry, as such, it's very different because I make 80% of my income from my businesses, which are outsourced, and only 20% from consulting, coaching, retreats as almost a hobby. So I have a very different perspective on what makes a business work, whereas everyone else out there are mainly marketing coaches who just teach you how to get busier, and they make all their money teaching you how to get more clients. They generate sales and and teach people the same thing. Nothing wrong with doing that, but it's a different perspective. Most coaches out there are teaching you to get busy. I'm teaching you how to get free, and they're different directions. So I'm happy to give everything away as well because I know from being a fitness coach that clients aren't paying you for more information. The information is all out there for free. What they pay you for is accountability, guidance, and personalized support, or maybe just pay you for some level of certainty.
Now, do you remember?
So that's why I'm different from other coaches.
Do you remember about a year or so back, you went into Ryan Levesque's script, Next Level Mastermind, and you just offered your time up freely a few times. Was that as part of your funnel, or was that just, hey, I'm bored, I want to connect with people?
Bit of half and half, probably. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, and I still post in there quite a lot, and many people come to me and work with me from that, from just sharing my content, and yeah, I mean, that was one of those things I can just do because I have a kind of rule with myself that my income goals need to be met by my outsourced revenue streams. If not, then I'm being a solopreneur again. I'm trying to I'm trying to take the hard way to swap time for money. So as long as my income goals are met by outsource means, then I have like a contract with myself. I'm allowed to then do time for money things and I know for sure that I'm doing it because I'm really excited to do it.
Okay.
So I do it for the money as well. Who wouldn't? But it's also, if I'm going to do it, I put those hours in there. I say, you guys can come and talk to me. That's literally because I want to. Because it's good to still keep talking to people, so you don't go crazy. But it does turn into financial gain. When you give good value, you can't help but turn into financial gain somewhere. Exactly. It's impossible, so may as well roll with it.
Cool. I guess the next question for you, as an individual, who has had the most impact in your life?
You mean someone I know personally, or more like anyone?
Someone you know personally, so someone you've spoken to, you've met in person, or someone even online has mentored you in some way.
A lot of people. Probably, the mentor I've had that's been there the longest time, I've become good friends with, is Sam Bakhtiar, who is in the fitness industry, and he has a chain of when I started working with him in a mastermind 5-6 years ago, I first went to that mastermind. I could barely afford my plane ticket there, but I went there, depending on it to help me out with everything. And Sam basically mentored everyone in the fitness marketing industry. Sam mentored all of them pretty much. All those guys that anyone's heard of were all in our mastermind, and and Sam is just a guy with loads of integrity. He had like 3 facilities when I started working with him. He was making over a few $1 million, but from 3 facilities 6 years ago. And as I've been learning from him, and he shares so freely, he's gone in 6 years from 3 facilities to now 37. 37 gyms, and he's just signed a deal now to license out. He'll have 100 more by this time next year. So I've been like right next to him, seeing that happen, and not only, but the more he's grown, the more I see him change his values. He lives just for his daughters and his wife, and he's traded in the Ferraris and stuff like that. He drives around in like a little $5,000 car right now, just to be more sensible with money. He's someone I know is really living the lifestyle. He's happy. He lives simply. He has multiple millions now, but he's got his values together, and he's not corrupted by money, success. He knows what's really important. He finishes work at 11 o'clock every day. He's now outsourced everything. So he has been probably the strongest role model for me to always think, like, what would Sam do, and aspire to go that way. And I don't need to spend money on flashy cars and 10 grand watches and things like that. I would rather reinvest into the business and use the return to serve people that you care about in life.
What does your day look like at the moment? You said he's finished by 11. What does your day look like personally, normally?
Well, an average day, I'll wake up around 6 or 7 in the morning, go down to the local harbour, beach area, either have like a stroll first of all, 'cause I like to get my head clear first thing in the day, go for a quick swim in the ocean just to wake up my nerve endings and wake up. Then I'll have a coffee, sit at a coffee shop, do some work. I do my consulting calls on a Monday evening, 6 till 9 p.m. But I'll get online. I'll do like a social media blast in the morning usually. One thing I think I find really more difficult and not as efficient to outsource is your social media presence. Your back end funnel content can be kind of done once. You've always got to stay relevant on social media. So I do like a social media blast. I post in my groups. I post on Facebook. Just try and give as much free, good content as I can to make people think and try and make people act on strategies as well. And then, maybe from there I'll check in with my teams. I'll just see how they're going, if they need any support. I'll take a couple of hours a week for some strategizing, planning out on the whiteboard. You can see my whiteboard's right up there.
Nice.
We've got some stuff going on. Usually got 2 or 3 whiteboards at once.
Yeah.
So I'll batch things by the day usually. So Monday I try and get everything done. Big strategy day, big review all the numbers in our funnel. Brainstorm with my team members. Where can we go next? What can we do next? And then it's just guiding them and holding them accountable to get those things done and see what they need from me. The rest of the time, I'm at the beach. I'm walking. Just hang out with my girlfriend, swimming.
Cool.
Simplistic, boring things, really. Not, but I enjoy it. So it's
Love it, man.
Drinking coffee, socializing usually.
Chatting on Facebook. Final question. If you could go back in time, speak to your 20-year-old self, what advice would you give them, knowing what you know now?
Have more focus. So, if you focus on one thing, and don't try and do multiple things in the beginning, but focus on one way. The one thing I would teach is what my wealth teachers have taught me, not business teachers, but wealth teachers, is that we always try and chase passion first, and then we try and make money later, and that's not the best way of doing it. What the wealth dragons, wealth teachers teaches, build a financial freedom vehicle first. Build an investment vehicle yourself, which has nothing to do with passion. Like some people do it through real estate. They'll have a few real estate properties which give them a couple of grand a month for minimal work, so that they can live and decide what they want to do with their life, and then decide what passions they want to chase. There's nothing passionate about, you don't choose a real estate property out of passion, right? So that's very confusing for a lot of people. But they say build a financial freedom vehicle first. I think it's very simple. It could be a job. It could be it could be coaching. Just maybe even build a coaching practice to a certain level that can be systemized, scalable, outsourceable, and then that will set you up much better to either remove yourself from that, and it just pays your bills, so you can then go and focus on something you really want to do. Or you could just scale that up. So I've got one client who came to my retreat this month. She is a boot camp instructor. She makes about $4,000 or $5,000 a month. Has one coach. So she's removed herself slightly and she does part-time coaching hours. But I've said, you're not making big money, but you've outsourced yourself, which has tripled the valuation of your company now. And we've just set her up with an investor, an investor who works with the second biggest franchise in the world after McDonald's, who now wants to invest in her and scale her boot camp up to 100 locations next year. So she's blown away. So I said, because you built a financial freedom vehicle first, that's going to set you up for the rest of your life. So that's what I would say is get your finances in order. Don't trade all your time for money. That's the worst. If you keep the employee mentality, you take it into business with you, you'll stay broke forever. You have to realize an entrepreneur is different to employee. You have to do things differently.
Brilliant. Mate, I had a lot of fun doing this. I've learned so much. Where can people find out about you? What's the best place to connect?
So if you just want to just chat to me or just find out about general stuff in my world, you can just find me on Facebook. Just type in Justin Devonshire on Facebook. You'll see me. If you specifically want more guidance on the freedom business principles and outsourcing, that kind of thing, I have a free Facebook group. I don't know the URL for it, but again, find me and you'll see it linked there somewhere. It's called the Freedom Business Project.
Cool.
The Freedom Business Project. So you can search for that on Facebook. That's a free group.
Justin Devonshire.
And if you want more help, with the speaking side of things, if the six-figure system sounds appealing to you, and learning what I do when I consult 7-8-figure speakers and coaches on that stuff, you can go to sixfigurespeakersystem.com. That's a blog where you can look around, get some articles, get some freebies, and see if that is a direction you want to.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much, mate.